Hello, friends, and welcome to Eye on the Storm. It is Thursday, May 19th, and we are here for our 64th episode, Gillyweed, of Eye on the Storm. I'm Anna Prosser-Robinson, and that is Gillyweed, my co-host. How's it going, Gilly?
It's good. It's good. I'm really excited to be here as always. It's good to see you guys. If you are unfamiliar with Eye on the Storm, we talk about Heroes of the Storm, Blizzard's hero brawler every week. We bring on guests who can tell us more about what's happening in the game. We talk about what's happening in the community too. We'll be talking about our guests very soon, but first, what about misscliks, the channel we're on?
We are on misscliks, and this is a live channel that promotes women in geek and gaming culture, specifically trying to uplift and provide support for role models in areas that they may be lacking. So we're really proud to be on this channel. Please check them out. There's lots of different shows besides just esports content, and lots of fun shows almost every day of the week now. So,
Yeah, and if you guys want to communicate with us here today, you can use the hashtag Storm Show on Twitter, or we'll be watching the chat as best we can too. But let's introduce our guests. From Panda Global, we have Yuuj and Sam. How's it going, guys?
Yuuj, you want to go first?
All right, it's been pretty good. I'm just, been streaming, been practicing a lot, gonna get ready for Burbank.
yeah.
Nice. How about you, Sam? How are things?
It's been going well. I think Austin really wore me out. I had to sleep for like 12 hours. So it's it's been well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we want to get a chance to kind of really get to know you guys, and for our viewers who might not be familiar with you, let's start at the very beginning. Just tell us where you're from, what is kind of your background, even outside esports. Did you go to school for something? Do you have a job outside Heroes? What's your family like? Any little tidbits about who you are outside of esports?
All right, so I kind of grew up overseas. I grew up in Taiwan, and then I moved to the U.S. for college, and I currently go to UTA. And, for a gaming background, I've been, kind of playing competitive League of Legends before I got into HOTS. And then, after that was just, I'm playing HOTS now ever since Heroes of the Dorm last year. Yeah.
Awesome.
For me, I grew up in Southern California, and now I am in college. I am a junior at UCLA. I studied computer science. No job. And my competitive history, I played semi-competitive Heroes of New Earth. I played competitive Dota 2, and then I quit games for a good while, and then I came back to HOTS when my brother introduced me to it. I've just been playing HOTS only ever since.
Why did you quit originally?
Dota 2?
Yeah, you said you quit games for a while.
It's because I was a senior in high school, so I was kind of choosing between going to college or pursuing the game thing. And then later I realized I could probably do both.
Yeah.
So what about pro gaming, and specifically with Panda Global? How did you guys eventually get with the team? Because I know you had joined the team at different points.
So I guess it's probably better if Psalm goes first for this, just chronological order in some sense.
Sorry, I completely blanked on your question. What was
No,
it?
that's okay.
Sorry.
How you like your programming history with Heroes, and how you eventually got to Panda Global.
So I think I started in December of 2014. Right, 2014. I played for a couple months, and then I met some players online, and then we made the original Capitals. And then I actually forget who was on that team. And then I know that Alcaface eventually joined me. Big Impact eventually joined me. We had a couple other players, and then there was a lot. We were all like amateurs. Me, Eugene, all the Blaze guys were all amateurs back then. And then Capitals eventually turned into. There was a lot of roster shuffling. I was on Team Blaze like after Capitals, and then like after Team Blaze, I joined Capitals 2.0 the new roster, and then that Capitals we eventually picked up B Kid. I was on a team with B Kid, Michael, Alcaface, and Big Impact. We became Panda Global. and then Panda Global kind of disbanded, and then some of our members went to like Noventic and like Team Blaze, and then finally Team Blaze and I are Panda Global again. So it's been a lot of shuffling.
Yep, we've definitely gone around a lot.
And what about you, Yuuj? Is your story just about the same with how you ended up at Panda Global?
So basically, we started out as Team Blaze. We started in the amateur scene, and just after Here's the Dorm, we came up, built the team, and eventually, we had a bunch of roster shuffles, and then we were looking to we really needed a fifth to make sure we qualified for DreamHack, and then we remembered, hey, Solomon is still there, and so contact him, and then eventually we just ended up in Panda Global. It was just like a circumstance thing, and it turned out for the best.
Does being on Panda Global mean that you guys have a quota of how many Chins and Lilies you have to play in competitive?
I mean, I hope we get to.
Yuuj always wants to pick Lily in scrims. And whenever we want to pick like an Uther or a Rhaegar or a standard healer, he's all typing for the Lily.
I want to play Lily. I don't want to play standard healers.
Why is that?
They're boring.
Well, I wanted to ask, speaking of pandas, Panda Global has a really distinct kind of character, a very unique social media presence. They seem very friendly. Tell us about playing for Panda Global as an organization. What is it like?
So far for me, as my experience is, when we were at DreamHack, we were able to meet a lot of the other players within the Panda Global organization, or especially their Smash players and their Street Fighter. Like we met F Champ, we met Esam, and we met Wobbles. So they were all pretty cool guys. We got to hang out and talk to them, and overall, I think the Panda Global organization is more of a family rather than an actual org. The owners are very personable with us, and we're able to talk on a personal level outside of just between just being owner and players.
I think Panda Global is different from other organizations because they really put an emphasis on like a personal relationship with their players. So their vision is really about their players' careers. They want to promote their players. They want to grow their players in the scene, in the community. And you can see that in like the Twitter action. They interact with us a lot. They've been really good to us. I feel I've been with them since like November now.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of good ride. So.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of your team, we're looking at the website now. We have your roster pulled up here. For people who might not be familiar with your team, could you just go through and say each of the players and their role or their specialty?
All right. So we have, me, I'm the support player, and, I like playing Rhaegar a lot. And you have who's obviously here. He's the melee assassin. I mean, he's the ranged assassin player. He's not the melee assassin right now. You have but then we really have a bunch of flex players. So technically, you could call everyone flex at this point. Since B-Kid never wants to play tank, even though he's unofficially the warrior player. But he never wants to play tank, so we always have that shuffle around. And then Cladius is the melee assassin. And we have Jason on ranged flex.
Awesome.
Overall, though, everyone still flexes. Like, these are very, very loose roles other than support, since everyone always flexes to different roles depending on what they're more comfortable with.
Cool.
Who's everybody's favorite hero? That's something I would love to know for your team.
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite hero. BK's favorite hero, even though he's a warrior, and I want to say Murden, is probably KT.
Okay.
Probably wants to play KT like 90% of our scrims. My favorite hero is probably now Tracer. I really enjoy Tracer. Jason.
Oh, I don't even know what Jason's favorite hero is.
Is it Abathur? Oh, Zag?
Abathur's up there.
Okay.
They're definitely up there as one of his favorite heroes. I know Cladius is definitely Artanis. His favorite is Artanis.
Yeah. Artanis.
Yeah. It's like we're trying to draft and he's like, Artanis would be so good here. And it was like,
I love that he
no.
still wants them.
No, it's not good here. But
yeah, and then obviously mine is Brightwing. So
Yeah!
Yeah.
Artanis, he's the OG Artanis fan, Claudia says.
from the start, yeah. We have 100% win rate with Artanis still
Yeah?
in tournament,
do we?
at least.
What
Yeah,
are
in
you-
tournament.
what are
We've
we,
never
like
lost.
1-0?
I think we're like 2 or
No?
3-0.
No.
I mean, we've beaten C9 with it,
It's
so.
not bad.
Well, speaking of beating people and of tournaments, a lot of what we wanted to talk to you guys today about is regionals and qualifying and all of these tournaments that are going on right now. So let's start by looking a little bit at DreamHack, which we just finished, DreamHack All-Stars. We talked a little bit about that last episode, but I'd love to get kind of your guys' perspective on the event and maybe just start with telling us about the road that took you there and what the competition was like leading up to DreamHack.
Okay, so leading up to DreamHack, we had to play in the qualifiers, right?
hmm
And, you know, because we had so many heroes of the dorm right before, and then we had all these roster changes, we were getting really, really panicky about whether we were going to qualify or not. Because eventually our plan was to go with Apollo, right? And
Yeah.
Apollo he ended up not being able to commit the time because he had gotten a really good career option, and he needed to, you know, graduate school. Once he graduated, he had a job lined up, and it was a really good job. So we just like said, hey, you probably can't commit. So like he told us he couldn't commit. So we decided to go look for other options. And then, you know, we tried out Stray, didn't really work out. And then, so, you know, eventually we went with Psalm and qualified. Yeah. That was the whole thing leading up. And then, you know, we tried to practice as much as we could for DreamHack. But, you know, given, you know, we hadn't played with each other for a while, so, you know, I'd say our team dynamic changed when we picked up Psalm.
hmm
And so we spent about, like, you know, 2 weeks just trying to work things out as a team rather than, you know, develop new strategies. And, you know, so we didn't pull out anything special during Burbank. Not Burbank, DreamHack.
hmm So what was it? Oh, sorry, you go ahead, and then I'll follow up.
Oh, I was just going to talk a little bit about the event since he kind of covered all the leading up. I think the event itself was pretty awesome. I think it was a big step up from Burbank. I think they, you know, really looked into our feedback and, you know, improved areas which needed to be improved. I think overall it was a really good experience and it was really fun. So
I wanted to know what it was like to have like a full team just join you at one song, because it's like they joined you in the org that you were already with, so it was kind of like backwards from what you normally see. Was it? And like you immediately had to play in a qualifier, so what was that like?
So the funny thing is I have played on a team with all of these guys before because I was on Blaze before and I was on PG with BKid before. So the transition itself, it wasn't like for completely new guys joining me. I know all these guys. I've played with all of them before, so it was more natural than you would expect. Obviously, Panda Global had its own roster at the time. You know, there was a little bit of a struggle or things that always happen when, you know, you're forced to disband your team or whatnot. So it was a little bit awkward in that sense. Like it was so like sudden, but you know, mutually, me, Panda Global, and the Blaze guys, we felt like we had to do this in order to qualify and in order to perform and, you know, create the best roster for Sweden. So
That makes sense.
How did you feel about your performance overall? I'm going to show here just the results from Liquipedia. You know, of course, you were up against some really tough competition. What did you think about how you performed in terms of ranking?
Personally, when we went in, we were a little like, we looked at our brackets and we're like, okay, this kind of sucks because we're against Cloud9 and Aventic. And it was kind of, I don't know, we really, really wanted to play against Cloud9, but we ended up playing against Naventic twice, which really was bad for us because we scrimmed them a lot, and it was just wow. Okay, we kind of got the short end of the stick here when we were, trying to, place the best we can. Obviously, if you're gonna be first, you have to beat everyone, but Naventic's the hardest one to go through. So.
Can you explain to someone who might not be a pro player why scrimming against somebody would make it even tougher to play against them? Because someone might think, oh, if you have lots of practice against a team, then sure, it could be easier to beat them. Yeah.
Well, because if you have a lot of practice against a team, you both know how each other plays, you both know how each other drafts, you both know, you both basically can read the other team's mind to some extent. And so it just becomes it's less of a who developed more strategies, it's who can pull a strategy over someone else first. And then, obviously mechanics come down. It's just, what have you not shown the other team that you're playing against if you've scrimmed them a lot?
Right. And Naventic was able to do that better than you guys were this time, huh?
Yeah,
they
definitely.
pulled one over us when they roll swaps a lot. They they moved Zuna around, they moved McIntyre around. We were just oh, okay, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I think they pulled one over on a lot of people.
Yeah.
Doing that. Looking back at Austin, were there any games or moments, you guys or otherwise, that you really think that people should check out if for some reason they haven't watched Austin yet?
I think our games against TNC were pretty exciting.
TNC definitely does not get enough credit. I think if they had to play any other bracket, they probably would have placed higher. It's just the teams they got matched up against were, I guess we had their number to some extent. We kind of knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they got a game off of you.
That comp was insane.
And then I think where maybe they weren't getting credit, they are getting a lot more credit, having 2-0'd Cloud9 in the last qualifier.
Right.
So
that was surprising, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how they will do at Burbank.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good time to start talking about Burbank and what's coming up next for you guys. But before we do, I always like to hear from teams. Is there anything in specific that you would sum up that you would say your team or you individually as a player really learned in Austin? And whether that's, something specific about play or about another team, or whether that's even something more about the event or how you feel in a real live LAN atmosphere as opposed to playing online. What was the one big takeaway for you?
I don't know. Because I just play at the event and I treat it the same. I mean, the crowd, obviously, for me, it hypes me up. I like playing under pressure because when I do really stupid things a lot. And so it's the pressure. I guess it tones down my, I guess you'd say dumb aggression. It tones it down.
That's good. Because I think for me, it would tone it up, and that's not good.
Yeah, because I'm scared to lose when I'm on the stage. I tone it down a lot.
I think communication is a big issue. I think that because everyone is super flustered at a LAN setting, we kind of get hectic and we start not knowing what to do exactly. We start falling back in rotations in an early game, which we normally would not in scrims because we're calm and we know what to do. But I know it's a lot more in a LAN setting. It's oh, what do we do now? And we're frantic to, I don't know, we don't stick to what we practiced basically because we feel like we need to pull out something extra because it's a LAN setting. And that really messes with us sometimes. So
especially when you're down a game, you're oh, okay, I have to do something, and we have to do something now. And then it's no, you don't have to do something. You just kind of wait it out and then find the right time.
Stick to your plan.
Yeah. Well, good. So you guys are going to be able to use that information as we move forward now into the next North American regional. And I'm going to pull up here the article on Heroes of the Storm heroesofthestorm.com/esports. So you can find all of your esports information. This is where there's info about tickets. But Gilly, you were saying you think it's actually already sold out?
Yeah, if you click on it, that's what I had heard, and so I just checked.
check.
If you click on it and you go to the Eventbrite, which I think is what it's on, and you select the days, they are already sold out. A lot of Heroes fans really excited for that regionals. I know I am.
Yep, you're right. I'm looking at it right now. All sold out. So no luck for any of us if you have not bought tickets, unfortunately. But we were talking about this before the show. This is going to be different because we have had a North American regional in Burbank at the ESL Studios before, but that one didn't have a live audience. And a lot of people had various reactions to that. Some players liked that they didn't have the pressure of the crowd. Casters said it was a little more difficult. As the host, it was definitely very interesting to be kind of announcing through a camera as opposed to an audience. So what was your guys' reaction when you saw there was going to be an audience for this event?
Personally, when I thought it was a good thing, they had the audience, and it for some people it's great. They play off the audience, and others it makes them a little bit nervous. But personally, I think being able to interact with the fans is great for the scene. We need an audience.
Yeah, I think an audience is great because if you don't have a live audience, what is the difference between playing at home, or playing at this venue? It's like the whole purpose of this LAN is to play in front of the fans. So I think that's a really big aspect in performing. So
Yeah, we were talking about this before too, that it for some people it'll definitely be better. For some people it may not be better, but either way it's definitely experience, which is good too. Experience playing in front of an audience, which helps with those nerve issues, helps with the idea of like, okay, just because we're maybe down a game, we don't have to get like super nervous and start doing things that we weren't practicing. So it's always experience, which is good too.
Yeah. We talked a lot about what you guys learned and took away from Austin. What can we expect to see from your team in Burbank? And I mean that in kind of two ways. One, just like overall general improvements. Like, do you think we're going to see a strong performance? Do you think we're going to see that? Or we always love to hear anything specific you can tell us about what you've been preparing. The audience and our fans who are going to watch you love to look for specific strategies. So obviously you can't reveal anything specific that you're keeping in your pocket, but any little hints as to what you guys have in store is always really exciting.
In general, we've been practicing a lot of strats. It's a new patch, and we're just, trying to figure everything out. Obviously, we mentioned before, I'm always trying to play Lily during practice. Look out for that.
Whether or not your team will let you.
Whether team that actually happens, we'll see. There's a lot of prep going into it. I think we'll be a lot stronger than we were in DreamHack because we've actually had the time to sit down and practice as a team and, work out some of the issues that we're having with our comms because, we were still trying to figure out who's better in what role. Mm-hmm. So, up till now, I think now that we've figured everything out, we'll be a lot better at Burbank than we were at DreamHack.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to say exactly what we're practicing because I don't think anyone knows what's good right now.
Right.
So I think every team is kind of just settling down, figuring out which heroes are strong, which combos are strong, in which order to pick certain heroes, because priorities shifted with the new patch. So, yeah.
Well, we can talk a little bit more about that patch in a bit, but do you have words for your fans and what they can maybe do to support you in getting ready?
For supporters getting ready, not specifically, but
well, even if it's like a lot of people love getting like helpful messages on Twitter or like I know a couple people who will just be like, can you send me specifically cute animal gifs? Like, because
are you talking about us right now, Anna? Because that sounds like us.
I know someone who does that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Specifically.
But I mean, even those little things, like we as your fans love to support you, so it's always fun to have something where I can be like, hey, I'm waving my online flag, cheering you on. So is there anything that you like when fans do, even if it's just like, if you send me a tweet saying that you appreciate me, or if you tune into my stream and hang out,
if you come to Burbank wearing a panda hat.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd obviously love it if you came to Burbank wearing a panda hat. That'd be awesome. But definitely support our streams. It's like we still try to stream as much as we can, even though we're practicing a lot. Like before scrims, after scrims, whatever
You
we can
guys,
find that time.
you guys should make gifs of our team's highlights if we're like winning a team fight, and then just post it all over Twitter. It's our team's highlights only.
That sounds great.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay.
And actually, if you didn't manage to get tickets, the schedule is here on that same heroesofthestorm.com/esports, and there will be a live stream, of course, on Twitch. That's ESL_heroes. You can find the link on that same page, but it's going to be June 4th and 5th. The tournament begins at 10 a.m. both days, so you can be in chat and posting those gifts for your friends on Panda Global if you so choose, and we hope you will. But one last question. I just want to hear if you think anyone is going to be your toughest competition going into this qualifier. Who are you most prepping to face?
Outside of Naventic, I think it's Gale Force.
Okay.
Ooh.
100% it's Gale Force.
And why do you say that?
Personally, I'll put it this way. I guess it's kind of throwing shots at people, but it's like
Yay, shots fired!
I don't think the C9 roster change is gonna change anything.
Okay.
It's not like it might change their mindset. I think it's gonna change their mindset and it might help them improve. But in terms of, gameplay, I don't think it changes much.
I would have to say C9. Leading up to DreamHack, and the qualifiers didn't perform very well. They qualified in the last one, but in my mind, I knew that C9 would turn Super Saiyan at LAN and back everywhere, which is what they did. They were that close to beating the Ventig and qualifying for Sweden. So I think it's kind of the same situation here. I think that they'll really turn up at LAN, and I actually think that the roster change is good for C9 because they really needed a dedicated shot caller. I think that'll help them a lot. So.
But you guys are familiar with this situation that they're kind of in right now, which is pulling somebody in who has the same role as somebody you already have. What kind of an adjustment do you see that needing time-wise? Because they've got 2 weeks before, and they still have to qualify this weekend. Is that something that you think that can be ironed out in that amount of time, as well as getting used to a shot caller?
It kind of depends on how much chemistry they have together just from playing with each other. I know when we pulled in, back then when we pulled in Big Impact and B-Kid, we had really, really good chemistry, and we didn't really need to practice a lot because we were all on the same page from the get-go. So we were able to, we didn't have to practice to build synergy. We just played together. We were already on the same page, and we could just go and then start building strats. Whereas, all that really comes down to depend. You can't ever see that until they're on the same team, because you could say they have similar play styles, but then the way they execute it is completely different. So you'll never know until they actually play.
I guess we'll get to see a little bit this weekend.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Well, we talked about how we really want to get some time to deep dive into talking about games. So that was our community segment. We talked a lot about these events, which are really important. We hope we'll all see you in chat or in person there. And let's transition now to talking about Chromie. We briefly talked about her last episode, but we want to give a little bit of a deep dive and maybe look for people who haven't gotten a chance to really play with or look at Chromie, to talk about what she's really about with our friends the pros here. So I'd like to start with just maybe going through each of her abilities and briefly explaining what they are to someone who may not have played her yet, and talking about a little bit what they're good for, how they combo well, those kinds of things. So do either one of you guys or both of you feel comfortable just kind of taking us through Q, W, E?
Well, definitely this goes to Psalm because he plays Q.
Chromie's Q basically is like a long-range nuke. It doesn't hit creeps, hits only heroes. You can talent it to pierce through one hero. It has a 1 second wind-up time, and it's really long range, so you can actually shoot it out of sight a lot, and then kind of surprise your enemies. But if you do see her, you can see exactly where she's kind of aiming it, so it's easy to dodge. Her W, it's like a AoE kind of spell where the enemy team doesn't know where it's going to land, but you can see her casting it at all times. You actually see her in the Fog of War casting it. Her E, it's like a trap pretty much. If you step through it, you turn into like you have stasis or whatever, and after the stasis, I don't know, nothing happens really after the, her ults. She has like an AoE slow zoning kind of tool thing there, which it like builds up slow over time. Her other ultimate is like you cast it on someone, and however much they move, they return to that position 3 seconds later. So it's cool because you can combo that ult with your spells, which is what most players are doing nowadays.
And just in case you are listening to this without watching, we do have Chromie's abilities in front of us, but they are Sandblast, Dragon's Breath, Time Trap, Slowing Sands, and Temporal Loop. And then, of course, we have her trait, Time Walker, which we mentioned last week, but that's kind of what makes her really interesting. Som, tell us a little bit about Time Walker.
Time Walker, I have to say, I don't think it's as impactful or game-breaking as I might have initially thought. Like, oh wow, a big power spike a level earlier than like everyone else. But to be honest, I feel like her ults are a little bit underwhelming to have that much of an impact.
Yeah, I think maybe it was done that way so that she could have her ult a level sooner. But you were saying that you see more Temporal Loop being played on the pro side with her?
Yeah, definitely more.
Go ahead,
Anna.
I was going to say, I mean, if you're seeing that more on the pro side, do you agree that it's the most useful? And are there any other things with her that you think are like the real best way to play Chromie right now?
I don't think Chromie is that figured out yet. I know that when Greymane came out, everyone thought Greymane sucked. And it took a lot of time until people realized, hey, Greymane is OP. He's a great hero. So I think Chromie, she's a little bit in that place. I'm not sure if Temporal Loop is the answer all the time, because I think there could be great synergy with her other slowing ult with other heroes or how to use it. But as of right now, it seems like Temporal Loop is a better choice because the other one seems a little bit underwhelming until people figure out how to effectively use it with other heroes. So,
has it been comboed with like the new Executioner? Have you guys tried that out yet?
We haven't tried it out. We actually haven't played a single game.
We haven't had because everyone's like first picking Chromie, and we're just like, oh, okay.
You guys don't need that, huh?
Yeah.
We actually, I think this is cool how Heroes has been doing this. They're providing us little lists of like heroes that new heroes work well with, heroes that they really struggle against. They mentioned a few that they think Chromie works well with. They have them listed here, but are there any specific like combos, whether that be heroes or abilities, that you think you've seen working really well with Chromie?
I think you definitely need some kind of setup for spells. You need like a CC chain kind of setup because it's impossible to land their spells. It's impossible. There's just too much wind up time.
Mm-hmm.
Heroes like ETC Tyrande, maybe even a KT to set up your nuke, because if you can land your spells, the damage is
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Not nothing. Yeah.
And then what about things that are really, they listed some struggles against heroes here. They have Tracer as the first one. What is hard to play Chromie against?
Yeah, Tracer. Obviously, it's really hard. Yeah. Other heroes is probably Zeratul and Illidan.
Yeah. Anybody who can
die.
Two heroes I can just get to your backline instantly, so it's like a nightmare.
Do you guys see any changes coming in, or do you think it's just too soon to tell if we'll see like potential buffs or nerfs before she is ready for competitive?
She's sitting at like a 30% win rate in hot slugs, if I remember correctly. So, Blizzard, they really make an effort to keep heroes in like the 45 to 55% win rates.
Mm-hmm.
And she's at 30%. I don't think I've ever seen a hero with that low of a win rate. I don't know if it's because she's too hard to play or if she's really just that bad. So I think there will be changes coming, maybe like quicker wind-up time, or I don't know, more of an escape mechanism. I don't know. She seems a little underwhelming. Yeah.
And then what about if people are going to try her out, despite that win rate, what are some suggestions that you would have? You kind of mentioned trying to cast out of the eyesight of people. Maybe talk more on that.
I actually haven't played Chromie too much, so I can't like give them too many pro tips. But my biggest tip would be, if there's a Tracer, Illidan, or Zeratul in the game on the other team, just don't pick it. Just do yourself a favor, don't pick it. No.
All right. Well, Chromie was, of course, included in the PTR, which was the patch that we talked about last episode. Now we have an official patch as of May 17th, which is just a couple days ago now. And it, as far as I could tell, was exactly identical to the PTR patch notes. There was nothing different, right? Okay.
Right.
Pretty much the same.
The two, because remember there was the one, and then the second that came out while we were in the show, which was really fun.
Yeah.
After it was released while we were on our show last week.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Gilly, shall we go through the things we touched on before? Do you think that's the best way to go through these notes, or did you have another way you wanted to pull out the opinions of our guests here?
Maybe we can just go through just general sections, so some talent changes, some hero changes, any favorites, anything that you guys have really been utilizing or excited to try. Maybe how about we go through that way? Do you like that idea?
Sure.
Okay.
Why don't we start really quick with just kind of some of the major system changes? Like, there's been some ranked play reworks, there's been some matchmaking changes, there's been just some ways that they're trying to rework the way the game matches people to play. Do you guys have any reactions to those? Because I've heard everything from completely ambivalent to I think it's not quite enough to yes, this is exactly what we need. Where do you guys kind of sit on that discussion?
I mean, personally, I haven't had much of an issue with the matchmaking, but then again, I'm not at the highest part of the MMR, because I don't really, I don't, because I'm playing support, so it's like, okay, I can't really do that much, and when I play any other role, I'm just not that good, so.
Something that's kind of along those lines as well, and I'm not sure exactly where it's listed here, but there was a change to the draft. Just the first round ban timer has been increased from 45 to 60 seconds. And as someone who is not a pro player, I was kind of like, I wonder if they care. Did that change matter at all, or was it helpful?
Yeah, I have a really big problem with Blizzard. It's, there's very simple quality of life changes that Blizzard can make very easily, in my opinion, but they just won't give it to us pro players. This was the first step in giving us the quality of life change, increasing the first round timer to make it more standard with heroes draft, but they still haven't made it so we can just pick the heroes first and then select them later. It's more like a Team League. If you guys have played Team League, each player just picks their hero on the spot, which is a problem because you don't know exactly who's going to be playing which hero until the end of the draft. So if you prematurely lock into a hero that some other players should be playing, it's like I don't know.
You need to be able to swap, really.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to be able to swap.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder if maybe the concern there with Hero and Team League is, in League, when you could do that, sometimes you'd have people, if you locked it in, people would be proposing the swap, and you'd be like, well, no, I actually like playing this hero. I'm gonna keep playing this one, and then they would just rage at you for not swapping.
Yeah.
But I think even if it would be for Team League makes sense, right? You're all 5 together, or in custom games too, if you had a mode like that. I can wanting to get that.
I just don't understand why those kind of changes don't get made, and it's kind of on the same lines as what I've been talking about with how important I think communication is in the game, and why from the very, very beginning I've been talking about wanting to have voice in the game.
Yes.
I think that there's just no reason why the basic tenets and fundamentals of the game shouldn't be supported, and when the fundamentals of the game are being able to communicate with your team and make decisions together. Like, if I can't make decisions with my team about who plays what heroes, and I'm prevented by the system from choosing the heroes I want in the order that I want in order to strategize with them, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I am so glad that you're saying yes to my voice in game. So many people are like, oh no, voice in game would make it so toxic. And I'm like, it's way more toxic when people are just
sensitive.
If people don't talk, like, it can't be,
they're sitting there for 2 minutes dying because they're timing.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
going to be worse. Like, it just won't be worse.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. Of course, we can use external programs, but that's why, like, I don't think I've solo queued in months, because why would I ever if I can't communicate with people? I'll only play if I can talk on something like Skype. So anyway,
well, Anna, the thing that I have been dying for so long actually announced by Dustin Browder that it's on its way. So maybe if that's about to happen for me, the audio will become the next thing.
What was what
Unranked draft mode, baby. I'm so excited.
That's what I thought you were talking about. I saw that on Twitter. In fact, I should have pointed that out in our outline this week.
Yes!
But
I'm so excited.
Let's just take a moment to talk about that, because I think that's so important. Gilly, you lead the discussion on this.
When I stream, I don't want, because like I want to be able to bring people on, but then also like us be able to play without me like saying, okay, we're gonna bring people on, then play like team league with like random people or like whatever when I want to be serious with team league. So I just love that for streaming. It's just like so nice, such a nice thing to be able to have. And then just besides streaming, there should be a step where you go from quick match, where you're literally just learning the game, to learn how to draft before you go into Hero League. Like, it's just like, how do I, before getting thrown in and being like, is Gazlo a good hero? I've been playing like Gazlo. Is that an okay thing to take?
Exactly.
Like, I really liked Nova. Is that okay? Like, I think it just would be so much better if there was a next step. Like, okay, it's not ranked yet, but now we're going to learn how to draft. And people are like, hey, maybe you would want to get a support there so that we have a support healing us. Yay!
Yeah.
So you just kind of ease into it. It's
exactly.
Well, and that's an issue that's related to so many other things too, because toxicity is often spurred by someone not knowing what they're doing and other people expecting them to know what they're doing. So giving more options of levels of skills and levels of comfort is always going to help with the community as well. So as someone who thinks about that, I was really excited about that too, and as a streamer, like you said.
Yes, it's a good thing to have when you want to play with viewers, to be able to have an unranked draft mode. It would make me really excited for that, because drafting is a huge part of the game, and being able to have that is a really fun thing to add. Anyway, I digress. Thank you, Dustin Browder, for tweeting that and making my bad day a lot better yesterday.
Yes, thank you, base Dustin Browder, as always. So let's move on. You mentioned specifically talent, Skilly. I think that's a good place to jump back into this patch. I'm specifically looking at battle momentum here, but what were some of the big talent changes that you guys thought were really important in this patch?
Talent changes. Definitely Arthas and Noob's talents. That's a for sure one, because they got entirely reworked. For more generic talents, battle momentum is huge. I think it makes characters like Kerrigan, Tyrael, Muradin, the heroes that really spend their abilities a lot. I think it helps them a lot. Executioner is huge. That's a huge change. It's a huge change. For me as a ranged assassin player, I was stoked, because now Greymane is hot. Greymane's one of my favorite heroes. And Raynor is also Raynor. Raynor. He does so much damage to us. He does so much damage. So for me, I think that was a really, really great change, because before it seemed like Executioner was a really underwhelming talent that you can almost never pick unless you had like a underpowered pre-patch Arthas on your team or something. But now you can pick it pretty much with anyone, and you have like one CC and you'll have the Executioner proc. So
great.
Yeah. What do you guys think about battle momentum no longer applying to heroic abilities?
I mean, it's good. I feel like there are abilities that like there are a lot of just being able to reduce the cooldown of your ult just seems your heroic ability just seems a little bit ridiculous for
Yeah.
some heroes. Like
Yeah.
it just seems
Like
you end up getting
Diablo.
like really really low cooldown ultis, and you're just like, okay.
Do you know what it reminds me of? And I think what we'll look back on this as is almost not as bad, but kind of like Resurgence, where we look back and we're like, do you remember the days? Do you remember the days when battle momentum could make your heroic up all the time? That was craziness. But we'll see. Obviously, that was a much worse. Like we always were like, hey, do you remember when Resurgence was taken by everybody? But
Oh no, 5 tanks.
Yeah, 5 tanks, all resurrecting.
I love that when that happened, we were like, someday we'll look back on this and laugh. And now remember when we had that ridiculous talent? Oh my God.
Yeah, there's always those things. Yeah. And this is when I saw this, I was like, this reminds me of that time where it's like, you know what? Actually, yeah, that does seem a little strange.
This reminds me of when Thrall had battle momentum. And if you had these changes, 0.75 per auto, ooh.
I like the ooze.
Oh.
Yeah, it was interesting because, like you said, it's ridiculous, at least for some heroes, to have this. And I think it's when Blizzard finally takes a stance and says this is going to be true for all heroes or not true for all heroes, I think that's interesting balance-wise, because I feel like the numbers of how these heroes balance with each other are so beyond me. And so a big sweeping change like this has effects that we may not even see for a little while. Would you guys say that's true, or do you feel like this is just going to be like, okay, things are more sensible, there's no other ripple effects?
Well, the thing I really like about this specifically is that changing it so that it is unique to each hero means that they no longer have to consider battle momentum changes for one hero and wonder how it would affect all of the other ones who have it. They can do them individually, which is really great. And they've like Johanna's, I believe, is still at the normal 0.5. But then they upped it for some of the other heroes too, and that means that they can continue to make those tweaking changes without affecting so many other heroes. And I think that's exactly why we're seeing them try to shy away and move away from those universal talents.
Well, I'm just wondering if specifically it might change which heroics we see on any of these heroes if they can't come up fast enough, you know?
Right.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I think you'll definitely. I think. The heroes that get hit hard the most by the change is probably Diablo and Tyrande.
Tyrande, yeah.
Because I know APOC, it has like a 9-minute cooldown. It's so long.
I don't think Tyrande gets hit that hard because you're usually going the owl build, and then you still have a way to reduce the cooldowns of your ult, so it's really not that bad.
Yeah. But you'll probably see a light.
You still have a way. You still have a way.
There's still a way.
Still a way.
Well, any other talent stuff outside battle momentum? We've talked about a few already, but anything else before we move on to talking about heroes?
I'm still interested to see how the Conjurers and Regen Master, how that's going to change in pro levels. I cannot possibly guess though.
I know all the supports are super angry with the Conjurers
because then now we actually start running out of mana. Yeah. You actually start running out of mana because it's like I got a useless extra 100 mana. This doesn't do anything for us.
Well, do you think that'll change potentially the pace of the game, where you're having to go back a lot more?
It's like a minor thing. It makes you upset, but it doesn't really affect you because it's like
it's tilted.
It's a nerf. It's like, oh, well, I run out of mana faster now, and now I have to pay more attention to my mana. I can't just spam my spells like it.
Ooh.
So it's there, but it's just a minor annoyance. So,
okay, cool.
I just I don't like it.
Of course not, as a support. All right, so let's move on to talking about heroes as we approach the end of our show here. And there are so many changes. I mean, I'm showing here the list of heroes that have changes here. A lot of them warriors. So I was wondering if you guys wanted to pick out any in particular that you thought were really important to notice for our audience.
Yeah, you guys go first. What were your favorites or ones that had you raging?
I would say the Arthas changes. I
Somehow
think,
he's useful now, yeah.
yeah, he's as the Lich King, as probably maybe the most important character in the Blizzard universe. He can't be useless. He can't just be like a dummy in try mode to beat up on. He's got to be menacing. He's got to actually be viable. So I was really excited about those changes.
There's a lot of them too.
Yeah, so many. I don't know all of them, to be honest.
They're a lot of fun to play. It gives them a lot of like variants how you can build them.
I think I saw some sort of stat in that he's the only hero to be buffed and then like immediately nerfed on the PR without being released for like actually maybe not. We got a little too excited about the Lich King. I agree. The Lich King should be in more and just as the character. So I'm so glad to hear you say that because I was super pumped too.
I'm excited to revisit him because back when Arthas was like the thing to play, there was nothing but Arthas. I hated Arthas, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to commit to at least getting Arthas to level 10 so that I can understand why everyone plays him and I can be competitive. And like 2 games before I finally hit 10, he just got nerfed to oblivion. And so
I remember that.
Yeah, I've had this like, relationship, this long distance relationship with Arthas ever since. So maybe it's time for me to revisit that. We'll see.
I remember when we first started playing Arthas. Like, Saul, can you play Arthas? You're like, oh, I'm level 2.
Yeah.
All right, bro. I can play it.
We played it a ton, and then, it's still level 2.
Yeah.
It's still level 2.
See, I've got that base now. I've got that base built up. So as soon as he's viable again, I'll be good to go.
Now they just need to make him a little bit taller. Like he's like shorter than Uther, I swear. Yeah.
Looks too
That is
little.
weird. What about you, Yuuj? Do you have a favorite or?
I mean, there are a lot of changes that, to the tanks that, obviously Arthas is obviously the best. I like the Nubarak change. It makes him good again. I think has a lot of potential as a, tank now. Oh, as a warrior now. Just he's viable again, pretty much.
Good.
Like
Viable is good.
like as well as with all the CC nerfs, I'm also happy about that. Like CC nerfs all across the board. Then that means I can play Brightwing because Brightwing's like, you don't need cleanse anymore. You don't need it as badly.
Hey, I have a question. I saw some people complaining about Lily a lot. What do you think about her changes? Is it complainable? Is that the level we're at, Yuuj?
It's not really complainable. It's like it doesn't really do much, but it opens up her to like supporting with like another support.
Okay.
So, like if you don't have cleanse, like you could just use her as the cleanse and then go like Tyrande or something. Yeah. So it opens up that option in competitive, but in I guess standard play it really doesn't. In like Hero League it won't matter because you have to give up a lot on 7 anyways if you're going cleanse.
Anna, do you have a favorite change looking at it?
Honestly, I mean, I always go to Kerrigan. I'm really hoping, and not even any of her like specific changes other than the battle momentum being kind of a glimmer of hope like we talked about. But other than that, I feel like I haven't even delved deep enough into a lot of these changes to have a favorite. What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I think I'd probably be, from what I've gotten to play, Arthas. I actually do like playing Chromie too. I'm a little bummed that her win rate is so low because she's totally my play style. Yeah, for you guys, Anna and I have opposite play styles where Anna likes the Kerrigan, likes to jump attack things. I like to sit as far back as possible and do whatever I want to do, but just like safely. And so that's why Lieutenant Morales is one of my favorites. And then that's why I really like Chromie too. But I also like some heroes like Arthas and then obviously Brightwing. So I don't know. I'm kind of a mix of what suits my playstyle. But yeah, I think Arthas, the minute I saw that, I got onto the PTR. I bought the Blood Prince or Crown Prince or whatever it's called. Arthas. Yes, me too. I was just like, okay, let's go.
It's a really sweet skin. I
It is.
like it.
Awesome. Well, we are getting toward the end of our show now, and I have to say, we have been exactly on the times mentioned for this outline today, more than I think ever in our
Best
show's
show
history.
ever.
We started exactly at noon, and we have been like, every time I had a time noted for when we had to transition, we were like on the minute. So good job, us. You guys are the best guests ever. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we want to transition into our community spotlight, and that's where we just talk a little bit about anything going on in the community that you might want to check out, and usually specifically that means the streams of our honored guests. So let's take a look at your guys' streams really quick. I'm going to pull them up on our showcase. We have Yuuj's stream here. Yuuj, tell us about your stream.
So my stream, I pretty much just, I play Hero League all the time. You have a good time, just talk. Obviously, I give some tips on like support while I'm playing. I like a lot of the time I'm actually doing with Psalm, so
Nice.
we have a lot of fun, and I'm just you see me play a lot of Brightwing, and it's a good time. And song request is always on, so it's usually like kind of troll.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Troll.
And what about your stream, Sam?
My stream will usually consist of me trying to pick Tracer and then raging if it's banned. So prepare for a lot of that. My stream title usually consists of like Road to Grandmaster #1 or like Road to 5K hot dogs, something. Or like Leeming, right now it's Leeming's a better Chromie.
Yeah.
Because Leeming's a better Chromie. I don't know. But yeah,
I like your donation caption
thank
here.
you.
Help Sam become a trillionaire
Thank
by
you.
playing video games. Poor college student. That's great.
But in terms of like in game, I try to talk as much as I can to the viewers, but I probably don't because I'm super try hard in Hero League. I hate losing. Every time I lose a game, because I'm super high rated right now. Every time I lose a game, I lose about like 6 games worth of wins. So I just want to kill myself every time I lose. So sorry chat. So
Yeah, hence the need for Unranked. Totally understand.
Yeah, unranked draft mode. Please stay.
Yeah. All right.
What about B Kid?
All right, B-Kid stream, everyone wants to watch that. It's amazingly fun. When B-Kid starts singing, that's when you know you're gonna have a good time. Like everyone watches B-Kid stream. Like all the pro players will go in there and just chill because B-Kid's a great guy. He's really funny and it's really entertaining to watch.
His stream is hilarious.
Yeah, he has this thing where every time he loses, he's obligated to sing us a song, and usually his songs consist of like house, like trap, like these super ghetto songs. So it's like the funniest thing to hear him sing those songs.
Yeah, how do you even sing trap?
I
don't know.
I don't know.
He finds a way. He finds a way.
That's
He gets it
hilarious.
done.
So just to review those stream names, we have Yuuj lol, YUUJ LOL. We've got Psalm Hots, which is PSALMHOTS, and B-Kid is BKIDS2. Those are all the places you can find those streams.
Your girl's favorite streamer.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
That's his title half the time.
And there are a lot of esports happening this weekend. For North America, we have the last chance qualifier for the second regional. It features 8 teams. It's a double elimination bracket, and there will be a few different streams for that on Sunday. Also, Super League will be on Saturday, and which is different because it's been like Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday for the past couple of weeks. But it's going to be on Saturday, and that's the round of 4 matches. And then Monday, if MVP Black and TNL will both win on Monday, that would be the time that you would get to see MVP Black versus TNL, which would be
Awesome.
yeah, super good. And there's also stuff happening in Taiwan and Southeast Asia.
Lots and lots and lots of stuff going on. All right, awesome. Well, guys, that is our show for today. Of course, we want to thank our illustrious guests. Thank you guys so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Where can people follow you and find you and wish you good luck and send you animal gifts?
For me, my Twitter is at PGUjers, so it's PG_YUUJERS. And you can follow me, send me stuff. I will retweet it if I find it funny. I'll probably retweet it. Let's be honest, I'll probably retweet it. So yeah, that's where you can follow me and keep all updated on like what I'm doing and when I stream, that kind of stuff.
For me, you can find me at PG_Psalm. You guys can send me just only if they're funnier than Panda Global's GIFs.
Which is a high bar to set.
It is.
Yeah, the bar is very high there.
Yeah.
And you guys should also follow at Panda Global PG, which is our organization. They always post good stuff, great stuff online. So
They do.
It's definitely funny.
Well, it is exactly 1 o'clock. So really quickly, you can follow me at Anna Prosser on Twitter. You can follow Gilly. Where, Gilly?
Gillyweed SE2, and also just a quick note, happy birthday, Billy!
Yeah, happy birthday to Anaklu, our amazing
Happy birthday,
admin.
Anaklu!
happy birthday, yay!
Happy birthday.
Also follow at MISSCLIKS on Twitter, and please tell Anaklu happy birthday. He's worth going 1 minute over on the show for. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. We will see you again next week, same time, here on Misscliks. Bye-bye.
Bye!
Bye.